And welcome to this video on your resting metabolic rate test, or RMR. I'm Joel. I'm the owner of Body Science in DexaFit Seattle. And let's get rolling. All right, so when you open up the app, click on RMR report. And the first thing that you'll see in the app is your resting metabolic rate. This is how many calories your body needs at rest, or how many calories you would burn if you just sat in our comfy metabolic chair all day without moving. So you will see that we provide you also with what we predicted your metabolic rate to be. This number is based on your gender, age, and weight. So you can see if you are slower, faster, or closer to what was predicted. And it's important to remember that everyone's metabolism is unique, right? That's why we're measuring it. On the next tab, we will find your resting heart rate. Now, the range for a healthy resting heart rate, it is pretty large, but in general, as you increase health and fitness, you will find your resting heart rate will lower. This is a great measurement of health and longevity, since your heart does not have to work as hard at rest. And giving you just some basic models here that you'll see. So basically, the best is going to be if your heart rate is somewhere, 50 beats per minute or lower. Generally, 50 to 70 beats per minute is in a safe zone. And then 70 to 80 would be at a higher risk. And of course, there can be reasons that your heart rate might be higher, and there can be reasons that a super low heart rate may not be ideal either, right? So factors that influence resting heart rate: stress and anxiety, hormones, medications, and then exercise is going to be the biggest hammer to reducing your resting heart rate or improving your resting heart rate. All right, so as we move to the next tab is RER, right, which stands for respiratory exchange ratio, or RER. And here we are measuring how much oxygen your body is taking in, how much carbon dioxide you exhale, right? And this gas exchange tells us what fuel your body is using. Are you burning primarily fats or carbs and sugars? So pure fat would be an exchange ratio of 0.7, and pure carbs and sugars would be 1.0, right? Now, we are always utilizing a mix of fuels, but we can see what mix your body is using today while you are at rest. So think about your metabolism on a spectrum. So on one end, your body is really good at burning fat. And on the other end, it is really good at metabolizing carbs or sugars. And basically, I want to be good at both, right? So fat is the preferred fuel at rest, and I need carbs for more intense activity. However, there is always context to RER. Nutrition is a big influence on your RER. If I ate a bunch of carbs, say pasta, rice, or Pop-Tarts, I want to see that my body is able to utilize that fuel that I have provided it. And I would want to see a high RER. Now, if I'm eating a very low carb, right, or maybe I'm even eating keto, I would want to see that my body has the ability to shift down to fat utilization. And also, as I fast, or the longer it has been since I've eaten, I should begin to shift towards more fat utilization. And there can be a time, especially if I'm not used to fasting, where it might start creeping back the other direction, as a long fast, if I'm not used to it, can start causing a little bit of stress as well, right? That's where hangry comes in. So other things that can factor your RER are, like stress is a big one. If I'm under a lot of stress, my body will shift towards more carb utilization, even at rest. If I'm lacking in sleep, the same will happen. So sometimes there's a nutrition modification, and sometimes it can be a lifestyle modification that I could benefit from. It's also useful to know what kind of activity am I preparing my body for? Do I need access to a faster fuel for high energy activity? Or am I going to be doing more lower activity where fat would be a good fuel source, right? So this may guide your nutrition choices. So the last tab in the RMR report is your TDEE, or Total Daily Expenditure Calculator. So this is a tool that we provide to you within the app. You can use this as a calculator that can guide your nutrition targets. Now, as you can see, the light blue on the ring is your resting metabolic rate, and that's going to make up the most of these caloric needs. This is why knowing your RMR is so important. First, what you're going to do here is you will select your activity level. And this will give you an idea of your TDEE, or what I like to call my maintenance calories. So first, you're going to select your activity level. This will give you an idea of those maintenance calories. And what you'll see is, at this activity level, this is about how many calories you will need to intake in the form of food to maintain your body composition. Right? So below that, you will see an area where you can calculate your calorie targets depending on your goal. Now you can select fat loss or lean gain. So for fat loss, the calculator is going to provide you with a 500 calorie deficit, or approximately 1 pound per week. Weight loss, or a 1,000 calorie deficit, or approximately 2 pounds per week weight loss. Now, it's important to be aware of where your resting metabolic rate is at in relation to this calorie goal. So I say this because we personally don't recommend eating below your resting metabolic rate, at least for any long periods of time, especially if your metabolism is already on the slow side. So you may need to either increase activity, or you can just do a weight cut, right? Maybe you just do 350 calorie deficit, for example. Always talk with your physician, coach, or nutritionist when you're working on weight loss. Now, if you choose lean gain, it is going to provide you with a 250 calorie surplus and a 500 calorie surplus, depending on how quickly you're wanting to gain. Now, remember, these are just suggestions that the calculator provides you. So that concludes your RMR report. Thank you for having us as part of your health journey.